Hello, and welcome back to Mona's Rants. I'm your host, Mona Sheikh. Hi, James. Too many bad things Mona can rant about. Surprise, we have a good rant day today. Yes, we do, James. We have a really good rant day today. I hope you had a great weekend, and whoever's going to join us, I hope all of you guys had a great weekend. I had a good weekend. It was relaxing. I actually got a chance to not do anything, which is always surprising to me because I'm always busy doing something. But off to the races. About the rant today, we are talking about the victory, the huge victory for the LGBTQ employees today. Oh my God. Okay, first of all, when I heard about the Supreme Court decision today that they've actually made this into a federal law, that LGBTQ employees are going to be protected, I was like, well, wait a minute. I already thought that was in place, but I'm delusional a little bit because I live in California, and because we are such a blue liberal state, I think somehow that all other states are somehow following the same things that we're following. That is not the case. So that is what happened today, and I just thought, first of all, huge congrats to all the LGBTQ brothers and sisters who have experienced any kind of prejudice, who have been basically fired for being gay or trans because their employers are a bunch of fucking idiots. So congrats on that. I mean, I just want to tell you, like, the fact that they, first of all, this guy, Neil Gorsuch, Judge Neil Gorsuch, Gorsuch, yeah, that's how you say his last name. He is a conservative guy. He's picked by Donald Trump himself. He's handpicked. And this guy is incredible. So today, the Supreme Court ruled that the 1964 Civil Rights Act, barring sex discrimination in the workplace, protects LGBTQ employees from being fired because of their sexual orientation. What? We're 2020. Why are we still having this conversation? In Title VII, Congress adopted broad language, making it illegal for an employer to rely on an employee's sex when deciding to fire that employee. The court held that in Monday's decision today. And they said, we do not hesitate to recognize today a necessary consequence of that legislative choice. An employer who fires an individual merely for being gay or transgender defies the law. Hallelujah, man. Like, how are we having this conversation in 2020? I mean, apparently, I don't know if you know, but apparently there are 26 or like 27 different states who were feeling pretty cool about firing people based on their sexual orientation for being gay or for being trans. Being gay or being trans is not a crime, okay? It's not. Like, some people, if being straight isn't a crime, then why would being gay or being trans be a crime? It's just another sexual orientation. It's just another gender identity. Why would it be a crime, or why would people get so bent out of shape for something like that? I mean, my best friend is gay. He is kind. He is wonderful. He's compassionate. He has been there for me at times that I needed him the most. He is just overall a wonderful human being. And I can't imagine his manager firing him because he's gay. I mean, I would be a total Karen. I would be the Karen who would show up and be like, can I speak to your manager, please? My gay friend was fired. I'm about to bust a cap in a bitch. Okay? I would be that bestie because I can't imagine somebody discriminating against my best friend because he's gay, because he can't hold his job. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. What does your sexual orientation have to do with you being able to do your job? How are those two even correlated with each other? Whether you're gay or trans or straight, it doesn't matter. If you're good at your job, you're good at your job. That's the fucking bottom line. Who cares? Oh, thank you, James. You finished watching Mona's talk with the LGBT. I'm going to put that up there. Well, thank you, James. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. One of the cases that they brought up in this Supreme Court decision was of this person named Gerald Bostock. He's a child welfare coordinator for Clayton County, Georgia. I think we all know where this is going. Okay, I mean, he's a gay man, and this guy actually helped reach a benchmark of serving 100% of the children in foster care while he was an employee there. So just so happens, okay, that Gerald said, I want to have a life outside of work. I am going to join a gay recreational softball league, okay? I want to know, I have, first of all, so many things to say about this, okay? Why would a homophobic employer be so threatened by a gay recreational softball league? That is the most non-threatening thing I have ever heard of in my life. I think maybe me opening my mouth or my existence probably maybe poses a bit more of a threat than a gay recreational softball league. How the fuck does that threaten an employer and make you go, you know what? That's where we draw the line, people. You know what? You can be gay at home, you can be gay at work, but don't you dare bring in that gay recreational softball league in here, okay? We do not tolerate such leagues, okay? Like, holding a bat, is that like a thing for the employer? That's what made him fire this Gerald dude, right? He's like, oh yeah, he's like holding a bat, and swinging it and hitting that softball, which is not even baseball, by the way, because softball, I don't know if you know, it's like softball would be too gay to handle for this idiot, okay? This fucking employer. As if the employer didn't know that he was gay before, that somehow now that he's joined the softball league, that somehow makes him gayer. That doesn't make you any gayer. Trust me, I live in West Hollywood, California. It is the gay mecca. It's the gay central here in Los Angeles, okay? That is one of the least gay things I have ever heard of, which is joining a gay recreational softball league. I assure you, okay? Because when I go out and when I party with my gay friends, I am covered in glitter, okay? Glitter and sweat and a little tipsy, okay? That is pretty gay. Softball league, I'm not so sure, okay? And now, so what happened? So now he's hitting the ball while holding onto that bat real tight, and knocking it out of the park and running with those tight glutes of his, from base to base and just sliding on in, getting all dirty, with that dirt all over him. Yeah, that's pretty threatening. It's pretty gay. That scares the shit out of employers, apparently. I honestly could watch that all day. I swear I could. I came across on Google about the top gayest sport, whatever that means. And softball, I swear to God, doesn't even make it in the top 10. It doesn't. You know what's number one that's considered like the gayest sport? It's soccer, people. Yes. Soccer, where guys are like acting all macho and machismo and ripping their shirts off and freaking, trying to toss each other off the fucking field and killing each other down. That is considered apparently the gayest sport, whatever the fuck that means, okay? I mean, I'm proud to gay. I love watching soccer, mainly because I love watching the guys take their shirts off. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, what? Guys, straight guys, wouldn't you love it? If there was a sport where women were just running around and every time they goal, they just took their shirts off. Actually, sorry, they do. This is called female soccer. I don't know if they take their shirts off every time. But guys are you never see one here. We'll never hear one complaint from a guy. Hi, Tam. Nice to see you. You never hear a complaint about a sport where a woman is taking her shirt off every time she goes. Are you fucking kidding me? You know how much money that sport would make? It's ridiculous. Okay. Some Indian auntie, this is a true story. This Indian auntie once told me, she's like, being gay or trans is a choice. Actually, let me rephrase that. She said, being gay or trans is a choice. It is not something that you don't have to be gay. You don't have to be trans. You can just get like normal person. And I was like, first of all, auntie, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about normal. There's no such thing normal. I'm not even normal. I literally don't know normal people. Like, I don't think there is such a thing as normal. Second, if you choose to be gay or trans, why in the fuck would you choose that? Like, to choose something where society is gonna discriminate against you, fire you from your job, not get hired, possibly be have your life threatened by people because of your sexual orientation or of your gender identity. Like, why in God's name would you choose that? Imagine, like, no straight person, including myself. I don't know if you guys did you choose to be straight? That is such a bizarre thing to say. Like, nobody chooses their sexual orientation. Nobody chooses this. I mean, I was never like pulled in the corner by my mom as a kid and told to be like, you know what you're going to do when you grow up? You're going to suck a dick. You listen to me right now. You listen to me right now, okay? You're going to spread your legs and you're going to suck a dick is what you're going to do. I would never fucking have this conversation because, you know what? Straight people don't need to, because straight or gay or trans is not a fucking choice, okay? It's something you're just born with it, and that's just the truth. And it's not Maybelline. It's being born with it, okay? Maybe it's Maybelline, or maybe it's not, okay? Because I think Maybelline sucks. But it's the most ignorant thing I've ever heard come out of a woman's mouth, or a person's mouth for that matter. I mean, you know what is a choice? You know what literally is a choice? Being an ignorant asshole who doesn't choose to have compassion. That is a choice, okay? Being straight, being gay, being trans, those are not choices. That is just something you're born with, okay? Because whatever your odds were, and that's how, like, things ended up for you, okay? I have never been told to be straight, so I can just, walk a straight line somehow, or just be a straight person. That's, no one's ever had that conversation with me, because it would be fucking weird. Just like no parent or anybody would ever have a conversation with their child to be gay or to be trans. Like, I don't know about you guys. I don't know how many guys I know, like, no guy, no matter how many times has gotten his heart broken by a woman when he's straight, would be like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to go suck a dick now. No guy has ever said that, because it doesn't work that way. It's not something you choose. You're not like, I'm going to spread my butt cheeks now for a guy. It doesn't fucking work that way, because it's not something you choose. It's stupid. It is a stupid logic. Makes no sense. Okay. Another case, Amy Stephens. Okay. Amy Stephens was a trans woman in Livonia, Michigan. I don't know where you guys live, but Livonia, Michigan apparently has a problem with trans people. Okay. She worked as a funeral director, but in 2012, she was in real turmoil over her gender identity. And she even went as far as standing in her backyard, taking a gun and pointed towards her chest. And she was going to kill herself because she was in just such emotional turmoil. But instead, she chose to be brave. And she chose to put that gun down and to go and talk to her boss and say, I can no longer live in this body. I am a woman and I wish to live like a woman. Rather than her boss being compassionate, her boss turned around, total asshole, and fired Amy Stephens. Okay? And when he was confronted and they asked him, they're like, why did you fire Amy Stephens, who was a trans woman? And his words were, and I quote, he said, we serve families here. How would they possibly react to this? And said that Stephens was the face of the Harris Funeral Home. First of all, if you're the face of anything, don't you want that face to be prettier? That's number one. I'm saying if Amy Stephens when Amy Stephens came out and wanted to transition into a woman, I bet she was gonna look much better. She was gonna be prettier. She was gonna smell better. She was gonna dress better. I'm sorry, straight gentlemen. That's just the truth. That's coming from my heart. Okay? Wouldn't you want that? By the way, it's a fucking funeral home. Like, what are you running a goddamn fashion show? Like, what? Why is that a problem? If Amy Stephen was an incredible employee, which clearly she was, otherwise she won't be the face of the funeral home, okay? And people are coming in to bury their loved ones. They're not coming in to be like, you know what? I want to see how straight this person is who is running this joint. I would like to see the level of straightness that this place upholds. It is a funeral home after all, and we hold ourselves to certain standards here, people. And our standard is be as fucking straight as you can. Don't you dare come in here with your gay and trans stuff. We don't tolerate that at our gay, at our funeral home. Let me tell you something. I mean, the employer, first of all, needs to transition. I mean, I'm glad that Amy was able to live her truth and she transitioned from being a man to a woman. I think the funeral director and the funeral home needs to transition out of being transphobic asshole to a compassionate human being and understand that not everybody is straight and not everybody has the same orientation as you do, and to embrace people because God just made us that way, okay? I mean, in the words of Chris Rock, okay, Chris Rock says this great joke, and he says, whatever you don't like, it's gonna come home. You know what? You don't like gay people? Guess what? You're gonna have a gay son or a daughter, okay? You don't like a trans person? Oh, guess what? You know what? Your spouse may turn out to be a trans person, okay? You don't like black people? Well, guess what? Your daughter loves those inches, and she thinks otherwise, okay? So whatever you don't like, that shit's just gonna come home. So people need to start opening their minds, start living a more broader life, and bring in more people into their world that diversifies their life. I promise you it only makes it better. It really does, okay? Let's talk about an unlikely ally in this decision that happened today. The Supreme Court ruling in favor of protection of the LGBTQ employees. Okay, his name is Neil Gorsuch, and he is a conservative judge. And the interesting thing about him is that Neil, like I mentioned, is a conservative judge that was handpicked by Donald Trump. And if you watch his interview, he's clearly a man. I watched his interview on CNN, and he's clearly a man who knows how to do his job. At least for this one, I'm gonna try to look the other way because previously he voted for the travel ban, which I wasn't entirely crazy about. But for this one, I feel like he makes up for it. Okay, I mean, let's talk about who is Neil Gorsuch. So I looked this dude up. He's pretty white. He's a very straight white dude. Okay, he's as straight and white as they come. Okay, he's a 52-year-old man. He's an American lawyer. Who served as an associate justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. He was nominated by Trump to succeed Antonin Scalia, and took the oath of office on April 10th, 2017. His early life is spent in Colorado, in Denver, and then he moved to Bethesda, Maryland. He's a very accomplished guy. He got his bachelor's from Columbia. He got his Juris Doctor from Harvard University, and he's been practicing law for 15 years. He received a Doctor of Philosophy in Law from the University of Oxford. Clearly the man is pretty friggin' accomplished, okay? But the one thing that he said that really, really stood out for me when he started talking about why he chose that decision, why he made the decision that he did, is mainly because of the fact because he wanted to uphold the law, okay? He wanted to uphold the Constitution, and I have mad respect for people who do that, okay? He was talking about how the Constitution, how he broadened the term, right? How the term got broadened to protect gay and or basically LGBTQ members, because he said that because it also bled into different things, right? It also bled into things like women taking a leave of absence from work and then being fired for being pregnant, or women being sexually harassed at work by male employees. I guess I think the employer, the funeral director employer, that's one thing that he would never have to worry about, would be worry about Amy Stevens getting harassing anybody sexually, because she is a fantastic trans woman, or was anyway, because Amy passed away, which is very sad to hear. But I think when you start looking at, I think a lot now, the way the world, especially our country, the way it is, it's so divisive. I think everybody has like very, very strong feelings. Everybody's either far right or far left. And I feel people in like the middle, people like myself who want to like look at things on both sides. Like, look, this is a true story and I'm going to make this public, but I am not a registered Democrat. I'm not. I am a registered independent. That's who I am. I am somebody who likes to make my own decisions. I don't like to just cater to a party. I like to absorb the information and let it roll around my brain, and then make the decision of who I want to be voting for, and who's the person I would want in office to pass legislation, basically. And I feel like something that what Judge Gorsuch has done is he has protected all American citizens. He has stood up and said, look, all American citizens deserve dignity and respect, okay, regardless of their sexual orientation. It is not the government's job to get in bed with you. It's just not. I don't want the government showing up to my bedroom and telling me who I should or should not be with. It's none of their fucking business, okay? That is the whole point about the separation of church and state, which is why I love America, okay? Which is why I love America so much that I constantly preach about the fact that one of the biggest issues that we have in Muslim countries, registered green, and the Republican establishment. Thank you, James. Amen to that. Okay? Amen to that. I feel like, when you start getting into this whole thing about, the Bible and the church and the Quran and the Torah, and it's like, whoa. Now you're getting into really murky territory, okay? I know that America is built on Judeo-Christian values. There's no denying about that, okay? But thank God for the ancestors of this country who were smart enough to say, we need to separate church and state, okay? We can't be mixing this two, because that's how assholes get in power, and that's how they get to retain power, because they say that there's an invisible man in the sky who's going to smite you if you don't follow those rules, okay? And thank God for those, the separation of church and state, because I don't have to worry about the invisible man in the sky trying to smite me and kill me, okay? Because, because I have to sleep with a man because I have to be straight. Fuck that, okay? Nobody knows. Nobody knows when we die what happens to us. Nobody knows. That's up to your faith, okay? Nobody knows. To me, faith is like a female orgasm, okay? You believe that it exists, you believe that it exists, but no one's ever seen it. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's what faith is. It's like a female orgasm. Okay? I came up with it. I'm sticking to it, people. Okay? I wanted to talk about how there are 27 states. I wanted to look these states up. I could not believe that in 2020, in the United States of America, that we really do call ourselves a very progressive country, and which we are in some ways, but in some ways we are not progressive at all. I think Germany and the Scandinavian countries do a really good job beating us on it. Is that even Canada does a pretty good job. But I was looking at the 27 states that have the no LGBTQ non-discrimination protections. Okay, you guys are not going to be amazed when I start naming. I'm gonna state shame these places, okay? Because they deserve to be state shamed, okay? You ready? These are the states, you guys. First of all, Alabama, not shocked at all. Alaska, little shocked about Alaska. It's pretty fucking cold over there. Who's got time? Aren't you too worried about like covering up because it's so freaking cold? What are you gonna? You have time to be discriminatory against LGBTQ people? Get a life, Alaska. Arizona, yes, I get it. I totally get Arizona. Okay, Arkansas, yeah, I saw that one coming. Florida, yeah, I totally saw Florida. Georgia, yes. Idaho, the potato people. What the hell do the potato people have so many issues with LGBTQ people? What is their problem? Eat your potatoes, Idaho. Indiana, oh yeah, I've been to Indiana. They totally have shit going on over there. Did you know that Indiana has a law that if you work in a small business, and if it's a religious business, especially of any kind, or has religious affiliation, and if you have been sexually harassed in that business, and if you put a complaint against it, you cannot file a lawsuit against it. That is a true fucking story. Look it up. That's an Indiana law. That's fucked. Kansas. Yeah, Kansas. All right, Dorothy, get with the program. Kentucky. Yeah. Totally. I thought Kentucky was pretty liberal and shit, but Kentucky still has a long ways to go. Louisiana, oh yeah, okay. Louisiana also kind of shocks me a little bit because when I think of Louisiana, I think of jambalaya, I think of delicious food, I think of, diversity, I think of that, but apparently that's not the case from Louisiana. Michigan, okay. Mississippi, yes. Is the Pope Catholic? It's Mississippi. Missouri, yes, of course. Montana? Didn't Montana have Brokeback Mountain shoot at their place? I thought Brokeback Mountain was shot in Montana. That is probably one of the gayest movies out there. Why would Montana be not cool with LGBTQ rights at work? Bizarre. Nebraska, we get it. North Carolina, okay, all right, North Carolina, take it easy. North Dakota, what? Nobody even knows where the fuck North Dakota is. Ohio, all right, Ohio, I'm really disappointed in you. Oklahoma has, like, what do they have? They have tornadoes. Is that why you have tornadoes? Mike Pence came out and said that there are tornadoes exist because gay people exist. No. It's the opposite. I think tornadoes happen in Oklahoma because they don't want to give LGBTQ people equal rights, okay? I think that's what the tornadoes are happening. And also, fuck Mike Pence. Pennsylvania, what the fuck, Pennsylvania? You're on the East Coast, get with it. South Carolina, okay, we saw that one coming too. South Dakota, nobody fucking knows where South Dakota is. I have no idea why South Dakota is acting all cocky about this. Tennessee, all right, Tennessee, yeah, we saw that one. Texas, yeah, Texas is like clear as day. If any state was going to be, if I had my top two choices of states who would have issues with LGBTQ protections, it would be Texas and Mississippi, hands down. Two top states. West Virginia and Wyoming. Shame on you guys for trying to be discriminatory against LGBTQ employees, okay? Shame on you. But I do want to talk about the states that are pretty cool and who have full LGBTQ non-discrimination protections. Number one, not going to brag, I live in it, California. That's right. Only the coolest state in the country. That's right. And also the 5th largest economy in the world. So if the rest of the country ever tries to like throw a fucking tantrum at us, we can just say fuck you to guys and just form our own country because we're the 5th largest economy in the world. Suck on that. Okay? Colorado, of course. Listen, California, Colorado, you get to smoke weed. Weed is legal. If you smoke some weed, you can chillax about giving rights to LGBTQ employees. You really can. It relaxes your brain. It calms you down, lowers your blood pressure, takes some of that prejudice off, makes you think like, oh man, no, everybody's chill, everybody's cool. Take a hit, okay? Take a hit, man. Connecticut, all right, Connecticut, Delaware's cool. District of Columbia, of course, Hawaii, thank you, Hawaii, Illinois, Iowa, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts. I was a little shocked about Massachusetts because I always think of Massachusetts as, kind of a pretty, what's the word? Racist state. But I guess they're pretty cool about LGBTQ. So thank God for that. We're working on it. Massachusetts is a work in progress. We get it. Minnesota, very cool. Nevada, yes, Nevada. New Hampshire. Actually, Nevada, I just heard, has went blue for the first time because we have so many Californians, because the cost of living in California is so high. Californians are moving away to Nevada, thus making the state pretty freaking blue. That's right, because the cost of living is pretty great in Nevada. New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York. Yes, New York. That's my hometown right there. Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, Virginia, and good old Washington, you guys. Those are the states that are pretty cool with giving full LGBTQ protections to employees, rightfully so, because they deserve it. And God bless them for doing that. I do appreciate that. I really think that, that was a time, I don't know if you guys remember this, but the Obamas, when they had gotten elected, were against the equal right gay marriage. They were against equal rights for LGBTQ community. I mean, they were totally against gay marriage. They were, and eventually they changed their stance. And it was pretty fascinating because I was looking back on it and I was like, man. Obama, you and I think of Obama as like super progressive, very liberal. I mean, of course, a huge Democratic president, very suave, very cool, got a lot of swagger. Okay, very handsome. Very unlike the orange ape we have in office now. And even they were against gay marriage originally. I think a lot of people forget that. And eventually, Obama overturned his decision and became all for gay marriage and helped vote to gain equality for gay folks to get married. And thank God for that. Listen, if you're a straight person and you're somehow threatened by gay people getting married and that somehow threatens your marriage, then your marriage was garbage to begin with. Okay? No gay marriage is going to come and threaten my marriage. As a matter of fact, okay, I want gay people to get married, okay? Because it takes the pressure off of me. So my friends can stop asking me, like, when are you getting married? I'm like, no. Ask my gay friends when they're getting married, okay? Get the hell away from me. Stop asking me when I'm getting married. I was like, I'll get married when my gay friends get married. And when then the law passed, I'm like, damn it, now the pressure's on. My gay friends are getting married and now I have to get married. This is too much. This is too much pressure. But thank God for that. Okay, thank God for the Obamas turning around and overturning their decision and voting for gay marriage. Thank God for that. I really believe that the truth is that U.S. citizens have forgotten how much power we have when we all come together. I think given the current climate of things, of how divisive people are, that we have somehow forgotten that, these politicians that we have in place, whether they be Democrats, Republicans, whoever, at the end of the day, they go and break bread together. They go to each other's like children's weddings. They go hang out and have dinners and go to each other's barbecue parties. Like, they're still friends. Like, they're not like hanging out in such different circles than the ones that they exist in. They just don't. I mean, it's true. Yeah, it's true, Tim. He is an orange ape. I'm going to put that up there. He's true. He is an orange ape, and I can't stand that man. I don't think anybody's hanging out with Trump because everybody hates his fucking guts, because nobody wants to hang out with an orange ape. I mean, they're probably worried if his orangeness is going to rub off on them. But I feel like people forget how much power there is in numbers. And I think now that the powers to be are noticing, they thought that we'll never come together. They thought that we'll never get together and cause the kind of revolution that's going on right now. If you live in California, if you live in a Democrat state, exactly, Tim, I'm with you, man. He's a buffoon for sure. If you live in California, if you live in New York, and the revolution that's taking place right now, where people are coming together for BLM. Yesterday, I went and marched in West Hollywood for BLM and because it was Pride weekend, and sadly, there could be no Pride parade because of COVID. Damn you, COVID! But I feel like this thing that's happening right now, the powers to be never expected us to come together like that. They never expected us to be like, we're gonna voice our concerns. We are not all gonna just like sit around every time you kill an innocent black person. Nobody's cool with this, okay? You see so many more white faces. You see so many more brown faces. You see so many Asian faces. I mean, you're talking about people literally coming together to come and protect their fellow brothers and sisters who happen to be black, okay? What did we not have this power before? We had this power before, but they just thought that we're never going to come together and fight them. And now that's actually happening. And I think the government and the people in power and people in positions of power don't know what the fuck to do. They really don't. They're just like, we're going to come July 31st. We're going to take away that extra $600 we were giving you for unemployment if you're unemployed. Dude, 25% of the country right now is unemployed. 25%. Are you tired of winning? Because I'm exhausted. I'm fucking exhausted. Trump kept saying that you're gonna get tired of winning. Well, I am fucking exhausted, and we haven't won shit. Okay, we pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement. Okay, we are fucking fighting each other. There's so much civil unrest. People are so divided. People are like coming out. You're seeing deaths in a way where like black men are being found like hung from trees. Where the fuck are we? Are we back in the fucking days of like what? Like pre-1950s where black men and black people were just killed and nobody was going to stand up for them? That's not where we are anymore. That is not the America that we exist in anymore. Okay? The minorities and even the majorities, the white people who are woke and conscious and smart and intelligent are coming together and saying, this is not the America I want to exist in. This is not the America that I want. I want a more civilized, a more progressive America where everybody lives in harmony, where everybody lives in peace, everybody gets to have equality. I mean, and I feel like, people coming together are even realizing that I think it's even, bigger than racism. It's big, not only are we fighting racism and prejudice, this is also a class warfare, which I think a lot of people, I don't know, some people are realizing or not. I mean, United States is one of the top countries in wealth disparity. That is not something to be proud of. I mean, our rich people, our top 1% got even richer during the fucking pandemic. How is that even possible? Okay. Well, poor people, the middle class, just keep getting poorer or losing their jobs. The rich people just keep getting richer. You know what that's called? That's not a democracy. That's called an oligarchy. And I'm fucking terrified if we're ever going to become the oligarchy. And if we keep walking down this path, like I said before, we might be seeing the last of American democracy. And God forbid for that. God forbid if we're going to be ran by a bunch of billionaire assholes who are going to make laws for us, get away with crimes, okay, do whatever the fuck they want, and the laws are not going to apply to them the same way they apply to a poor person or a middle-class person like myself. Fuck that, okay? I don't want to exist in a country like that. That's so fucked. That is not the America I know. I think that is not the America that most Americans know. The top 1% is just keeps getting richer, and everybody else is told to fucking eat a dick. It's bullshit. It's fucking nonsense. Okay. I don't think the laws change on their own. They really don't. I don't think the politicians step up and say, hey, you know what? We're going to change the laws now. That's not how it works. You know how it works? I think the laws change when the citizens change. When the citizens demand a better life, when the citizens say no more, we don't want to see any more innocent black people being killed in the streets. Bring those fucking officers to justice. Okay. Charge them with first-degree murder, okay? Do put a high bail on them so they're not they're not just going to walk around freely as if nothing happened to them. Justice has to be served. That's when the laws start to change, okay? President Obama didn't just change his mind over gay marriage because maybe he became so woke, or maybe he did, but because he saw that the American citizens were demanding that. They saw the attitudes of people realizing and waking up to the fact like, hey, maybe my son's gay. Maybe my daughter's gay. Maybe my son's trans. Maybe my sister's trans. Maybe my brother's trans. Maybe my mom's trans. Maybe my dad's trans. I don't know, okay? People realizing that the very people that they're so afraid and scared of and hold these prejudices against may be the very people that they're related to by blood, okay? And how do you dismiss that? How do you disown that? You don't. You embrace it. Because you realize that, hey, you know what? This is a very real thing that exists in our society. We are all human and we are just different. Not everybody's going to be the same as you, and that's fine. And I think that's what makes America so beautiful. That level of diversity and that level of acceptance. But we have people in power, positions of power, who are sitting there and saying that somehow you and I are so different and that somehow we are going to be, divided up because of the color of our skin, because of the religion we practice, because of our sexual orientation, because of the person we chose to marry, No, I'm sorry. That is not the America I know. Okay, my family started coming to the U.S. in 1980s, and the reason they started coming to the U.S. United States in 1980s is because I have four older brothers, and my second and my third brother were given expired vaccination for polio, and they ended up getting polio because of it. And at the time, this is like 70s, there was no treatment for my brothers in Pakistan. There was like none. And my mom would write letters to hospitals around the world saying that I have two sick children who need help, and could you please help them? And finally, Shriners Hospital in Lexington, Kentucky, responded to our letter and said, if you fly yourselves out here, we will pay for the treatment of your children. And that's exactly what we did. So when I have these conversations with my mom about what's happening right now, my mom's like, that is not the America I know. She's like, the America I know is kind and compassionate and caring. And she loves you. That's the America that she knows. And that's the America I know. So I have like this kind of deep rooted love for America. And when I see people come in power, such as the orange buffoon that we have in power, it makes me nervous because I'm just like, that's not the America I know. The America I know is so full of love and care. Although after coming to America and then reading the history books, realizing that our history is pretty dark. I mean, we are built on barbarism, but I think we're trying to we can make those things right? We can make those things right by having laws that are inclusive. We can have laws like the one that just got passed today, where Supreme Court is like, look, you're no longer allowed to fire somebody just because they're gay or trans. That's the America I love. That's the America that I have come to love and embrace, not the America that says just because you're gay or you're trans or you're Muslim or you're black or you're Latino or whatever, that, you are not American. Yeah, you are. We are no longer in a place where America is defined by we're not a monolith. We're not a monolith. We are not. We are a country that is a melting pot. We are in many ways the dream of Alexander the Great. And I have read extensively on Alexander the Great because I'm a big fan of Alexander the Great, and also I'm a big fan of history. And Alexander the Great, when he when he entered India, he had never seen elephants before, and he saw elephants because they entered. When they entered India, they had never seen. And what he wanted to do is he wanted to intermarry his armed forces, his soldiers, with the local people of whichever city or country they were conquering, because he wanted mixed people. He wanted to see this melting pot of people, and he never was once like, oh, we're going to impose our laws, we're going to impose our culture on you. He would say, no, you get to retain your culture, you get to be who you are, and we're going to mix our blood with your blood. And his soldiers didn't like that. A lot of his people didn't like that because they were Macedonian. They were blonde hair, blue and green eyes. They didn't want to mix with the barbarians. They probably looked at my ancestors at some point and thought that we were barbarians. Okay. But Alexander the Great thought otherwise. And he was like, no, people are people. I want a kingdom where everybody gets along, even though they come from different cultures and different religions and different backgrounds. That's what Alexander the Great wanted. And this was in 32 BC. And here we are in 2020 having this conversation where America has somehow managed to, being the youngest nation, most successful nation, unprecedented, by the way, to achieve this level of success the way we have. So we got to keep it going. We can't give it up to billionaires. We can't give it up to oligarchy. We can't lose our nation just because a handful of orange assholes are sitting in the White House and think that we should be divided because that's how they're going to conquer us. They're not, okay? The revolution has begun. People are taking it out in the streets. This is a full-blown class warfare where billionaires and multimillionaires are not going to be treated with a separate, set of rules versus the average American like you or me, okay? That is not the America that I want to live in, and I'm sure that's not the America you want to live in. I think who you love, who you fuck, is not the government's business. It just isn't. And if you are somebody who wants to be, who is gay, who wants to join a gay recreational softball league, or you want to be a trans person because that is where you feel that your truth is, then God bless. Okay. And that's the America that we should live in. Guys, if you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, you can. If you guys have not, followed me on Twitter or Instagram, you can. It's at Mona's Comedy. I'm on Facebook at Mona Shea Comedian. Today was a pretty passionate rant, I feel. It was. But I'm going to be back tomorrow at 6:15 Pacific with another rant. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for staying here and listening to me. I love you. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow.